Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Toriko chapter review, chapter 348. There's nothing we can't eat. Now, at the beginning of the chapter, we find out that they time skipped. They time skipped a year in terms of the blue krill egg, but in terms of the surface world, it's only been 6 days. The gourmet knights have returned, and they look like shit after spending 10 years trying to collect these ingredients. And of course, they quickly get after they come back, and they've shown down their resolve. A little bit of talking. Yuta just basically points out that oh wow, if we're gonna be taking on something similar to this in the friggin' soul world to cook another, he's like, I better retighten my apron. And so he's like, okay, get to work. So then everyone says, okay, let's go, let's get to work on making this stuff. So you freaking have, Turbo is, shocking everyone, because apparently if you want to make these stuff, the freaking pot, you need to, or should I say, the materials aren't supposed to even shape or mold a single millimeter unless they're being struck and shaped with a golden hammer. But apparently Turbo is able to do it with his bare hands by molding it on a golden foundation, shaping it little by little. And he said, and it's going to take. It could take decades to even make one pot, and he needs to make and even after making the pot, he still has to make a frying pan and a chopping board. So we get one of the 10 Shell 5 using Warp Kitchen, creating a Warp Kitchen around Turbo so he can do it a lot faster. And you have Milk the Second doing her thing with the knife, sharpening it. So, and she also states how she's going to also make the ladle and the spatula as well. And I thought it was actually kind of funny that the only female member of the 10 Shell 5 is referring to Milk as a guy, even though we all know she's a girl. We also find out that apparently you need to eat news in order to be able to travel through the back channel, and that on the surface road you can also use it as a cloak of invisibility and a way to travel vast distances in a short time. And basically you'll be able to create your own safe zones. But it's not just simple as eating news and be able to use it, because not everyone can do it. Furthermore, news has no flavor. And they're like, nani? We find out that you can't really call it food. But for those who can eat it, it is the greatest meat of all. And we basically get an example. This wooden table and chair are not considered food because you can't really eat it. You can't digest it, so it's not really food. However, if you were a termite, you would be able to eat it and digest it, so it would be considered food. So in essence, we find out that through the power, if your gourmet cells actually have the power to eat anything and everything, and the only way you can do that is if you eat another. So not only does another unlock the gourmet demon's tongue, but it allows someone to be able to eat anything. Basically, in a sense, it activates a new stomach with your gourmet cells, and that for an extreme example, it says you might even be able to eat rocks and stones and consider them extremely delicious. And that in the gourmet world, there are many ingredients and food that you can't recognize their taste or even perceive. And so that because of that, there are many foods and ingredients that we cannot eat. Alright. And so to basically summarize it, when you first taste the flavor of news, you activate the ability to enter the back channel, and what allows you to taste it is another. Another is the food that revives the tongue of the gourmet cell demons. And because of that, you might even say that it's more important it's because of that it's most likely that it's, in that sense regard, another is even more important than God or center. We also find out that from Gigi that Komatsu finished cooking all the other ingredients of the full course that were in Blue Grill. I guess you'd say the knockoff brand. So, and he said, Gigi basically, we find out Komatsu was like, after he finished cooking them all, he said, I could hear their voices. But in the panel, we get a picture of Froze standing next to him. Now, we don't see her face, we see her from behind. But at this point, it's pretty obvious that this ability of Komatsu's to hear the voices of the ingredients seemingly is coming from Froze. But if you go to the soul world, you perhaps will be able to begin to figure out the true identity behind that voice. So it sounds like Gigi knows that it's Froze. And that, okay, now all that's left is another, now that we've cooked the other ingredients, and that the golden cookware should be completed soon, so everyone please get ready. And then Komatsu meets up with Chaco, talking about how, it was you, and that Chaco's getting used to the work, but he hasn't seen his mom yet, and Komatsu looks kind of like, I'm worried. And then he says something to her, or to Chaco, about his mom, saying, "Oh, your mom's in charge of a more important cooking all this time. After this project's finished and all, she'll be able to meet her. So, and I'm gonna finish it all soon, and then together with your mom, we'll all eat together." Now, but that whole thing at in the last chapter with her saying that, before my memories go, I want you to do something for me. And then in this chapter, when Chaco munches his mother, Komatsu kind of looks sad and worried. Of course, Chaco's like, "Oh, well, your cooking tastes awful." He said, "Well, that's not true. I'm a pretty good cook." And then the next page, we get this spread of all the chefs decked out in the freaking golden hat and golden aprons. It just looks like, damn. Us Rudy's all like, "Wow, this is some really high level stuff. It's the first time I've seen something like this." And that with this will be, you see the people who have been working on all these tools are exhausted because they probably spent, thanks with the power of the Warp Kitchen, decades, years, even decades, trying to create these things, the golden cookware. And that with the golden cookware now, so they're tired, but now it's like, well, thanks to this, your efforts, we'll be able to cook. And that Gigi and the Squid Lady will stay back to put the finishing touches on the full course, and that Kaka, the real Kaka, should be on the other side to working on, and she should be working on the cooking of another, just as they planned. So now that we also see Chin Chin and Match, who are also messed up from helping cooking, and of course Don Slime will be their guide. Of course, they call it in the Soul World. I don't know exactly who, but there's someone says Slimy. So like, don't call me Slimy. And he basically says, "Okay, come forth and bring only your appetite with you. Onwards to the Soul World, our destination, the Food Spirit's kitchen." So you have this nice big panel of the doors opening, and it's just like humongous. In the statement that says, "The door to the key to the reviving dawn, another has opened." This little note at the bottom stating, "At last, onwards to the heart of Area 6. Next chapter, the form of the Soul World is ... exclamation point." So obviously there's going to be some sort of secret behind this, what the Soul World actually is, and how that could relate to all these various events. So there's a lot of information that was dealt in this chapter, but also, which is good. We got good progression because, yes, it would have been nice to see the struggle from the Gourmet Nights, but honestly, we've been, we've deviated so far, with all that extra content before with Toriko and Rose and Midora and Neo and Akashia. So I want to really get to the bulk of this arc, the bulk content of this arc, which is what they do in this, what happens in the Soul World. So I'm glad we're finally going to the Soul World, and just the golden cookware. It looks pretty, just like I would expect. It's made of golden materials, so it's good. So overall, I thought this was a good chapter. Really good with setting up for the events of the next part of the arc, which is them being in the Soul World, where we're going to get a lot of information and a lot of things are going to go down. So, overall, like I said, good. Actually, I would probably even consider it a great chapter. And so I hope you all enjoyed this review and hope to see you all next week.